Floyd, what were you lying about with the flood? What was Arcane ranting about?
I think he said I was lying about that there's no evidence that the Exodus happened or the floods or the global flood.
What's the lie, Arcane?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah. Come on, Floyd.
Yeah, well, yeah. Modern archaeology claims that the Exodus never happened.
Who claims that?
The overwhelming majority of modern archaeologists.
The majority, so therefore, the majority says there's no evidence.
Well, they have a lot of reasons to think so.
They have a lot of reasons to think that there's no evidence.
Yeah, and if you have evidence to the contrary, I'm sure they'd be interested in knowing.
Try looking up fossils. You know, there's a lot of accomplished geologists who.
I'm not talking about
who disagree
fossils.
with your majority. So I don't care about the vast majority. When people throw that out there, that's sort of like a.
Well, you need to look at their reasons.
It's a deterrent from looking at things critically. When you say things like,
well, yeah, you need to look at their evidence, right?
Right. So,
if you needed brain surgery, would you become a brain surgeon yourself, or would you kind of rely on experts?
Yeah, there are experts who disagree with your so-called majority.
And where do they teach, and where are their credentials?
All over the world. Are you kidding me?
No.
I think you just blew past his. You blew past his example, though, Arcane. I mean, if your car is broken down, do you go to a mechanic, or?
How is that relevant?
Well, you're saying that we can't go to the experts in the field to see what they have to say about.
You are. You said we can't rely on experts.
Yeah. When did I ever say that? Somebody please find me a timestamp.
Well, who are your experts? Who are your experts that say the Exodus?
Okay, I'll say it slower. Maybe I'll say it slower. Okay.
Yeah, that must be it. We're not getting it.
Yeah, I'll say it syllable by syllable. There are experts who disagree with your so-called majority.
Well, who are these experts? Where do they teach? What are their reasons?
Well, there's plenty of them. Man.
No, they're not.
I don't expect him to actually give the.
Can you name one? Can you name one at an accredited university?
Is this a dialogue or is this a?
Well, I'm asking you questions and you're not answering.
No, how about I finish what I'm going to say, because it's clear your mind's made up, so I can at least present the other side since you claim to be open-minded, right? So I can at least get my piece out. Well, there's one in particular. He studied in geology. His name's John McKay. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Geology? No, this is archaeology we're talking about, not geology.
Well, we're talking about evidence for a flood here. That you said.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the Exodus. You want to switch?
Yeah, I thought you were talking about Exodus.
No, there are people. There are experts who have evidence for the Exodus as well. And you just saying that there's no evidence really makes you.
So we asked you.
Hold on. Can I finish, Joe? Or can I finish? Thank you. There are experts with evidence out there, so when you say things like that and people go and check for themselves, you really put yourself in a tough spot. Because then here you are saying there's no evidence, there's no experts who agree, all of these wide sweeping statements. And then when people check and fact check and you look silly, it puts you in a tough spot.
Oh, I don't think I look silly at all. Again, who are these experts? What are their credentials? Where do they teach? What is their reasons?
You gave us one for the flood.
How about fossils? If you ever look up fossils, what a fossil is.
Well, I thought we were talking about the Exodus.
You know, if you want to change the topic,
yeah,
you're changing
the topic.
No, what did I say initially? You said that there was no evidence of a flood.
No, I mentioned both. I mentioned the Exodus.
There are people who disagree about your claims about Exodus too.
Hey, you know what? You really got upset when we were interrupting you. So don't interrupt Floyd when he's talking.
You guys are so petty, it's laughable. I'm just playing your game. So continue.
Okay, can I interrupt a second then?
Well, Floyd was actually about to talk.
Well, yeah, but let's as you rightly say, let's stick on one topic, okay? Now let's talk about and I stepped away for a while, so I can't be certain, but it appears that you were talking at one moment about the Exodus and the biblical explanation and description of Moses and the Exodus. Okay? Shall we just restrict ourselves to talking about that for a few moments? Yes?
Yeah, and I can give reasons why.
I was just checking. I was just checking with Arcane. Is it? Yeah. Are you happy to? Are you happy to just concentrate on one issue at a time? Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about the flood, but since you want to talk about Exodus for some reason,
I said that we'll talk about the Exodus. If you want to talk about the flood, we can do that. But are you happy to talk about the Exodus?
What about it?
Okay, we'll talk about this. Floyd, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, one reason they don't believe the Exodus happened is because they look at the language, the Hebrew language. It's a Semitic language, which has hardly any influence at all from the Egyptian language. Now, if you had a group of people that lived in Egypt for hundreds of years, it would obviously have the Egyptian language obviously would have some influence on their own language. Yet we don't find that. So that's one reason why archaeologists believe that there was no Exodus. We had no findings at all of which would amount to millions of people living in the desert for 40 years. If millions of people lived in the desert wandering for 40 years, we would find some evidence of that. We find none. If that amount of people left Egypt as well, it would basically destroy their economy. Imagine half of New York City leaving. What would that happen to the economy of New York City? It would basically bring the city to a halt. So the Exodus story, as presented in the Bible, simply is not feasible to believe in. I can offer other evidences as well, if you'd like.
So that means, therefore, Exodus didn't happen?
Right.
Because you think that there's no evidence for it?
Well, if you have evidence to present, we can certainly evaluate it.
I mean, that's the point, Arcane. Floyd's knowledge about this is again, I'm more than happy to admit, far more extensive and far more knowledgeable than mine is. I'm just a simpleton coming to this argument and trying to determine which account, if any, is true. And the fact that something is written in the Bible or any other particular book is not, for me, sufficient evidence. What I'm hearing Floyd come up with is cogent, coherent arguments why the Exodus account is incorrect. What, in contrast to the evidence that he has presented, do you have to present?
Well, what's really cool, man, I think I saw on Netflix or something like that, there was a documentary called Patterns of Evidence. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but you should probably check that out if you're open-minded.
Yeah, have you? I recommend just Googling that and just Google that rebutted, and you can find a lot of articles refuting it.
You can Google gravity rebutted, Floyd. That doesn't mean that there's not gravity.
It's something to review. It's something to read. It's something to look at.
Right, and you can do that until the cows come home.
Right, but that's
point
how
is,
that's how we learn. That's how we investigate. That's
truth isn't.
So
the bottom line.
Sorry,
is this,
I just want to.
The bottom line is this. Hold on. You guys had your share. The bottom line is this: two different sides are going to interpret the evidence differently. So while you guys say, well, there's no evidence, there's a whole nother side that sees a lot more than you claim to see. The question becomes, who is right? The majority, because you want to believe the majority? Or is truth stand independent of how many people agree with it?
But we need a method, we need a process to discover the truth. Yes, the objective truth is out there, but we need a method to discover it.
Are you saying that you can discover it?
Yes.
No,
Okay,
what's your
method?
I wouldn't actually go that far. I would disagree with Floyd in that regard. I think there are certain things that may potentially be permanently unknown to us.
Well, yeah, I'm not claiming we're going to learn all truth, but
the Exodus account is not one of those things that would be unknown to us. There are certain things that we can look for, and Floyd has told you about these, and I've asked you in a perfectly civil manner to tell us what your evidence for the Exodus is, and you've basically not provided any evidence at all. You have said, oh well, there are always two sides to a story, which isn't actually true from the get-go, and you have failed to provide any evidence for the claim that you are making. So I'm sorry, don't try and say that this is comparable to other areas of investigation or science or whatever. This is a straightforward factual claim that is being made, and if you've got evidence for it, provide it. If you haven't, accept that you haven't.
That's not a fair characterization. Arcane did provide evidence.
Well, he suggested we look at a YouTube video, I think you said.
No, it's a documentary.
Netflix video.
I don't care. I don't care. Look, I'm terribly sorry. If you look on
You don't care if you
any issue
mischaracterize someone's
whatsoever,
argument?
if you look at any issue whatsoever on YouTube, you will find one person saying something and one person saying something else. And if the best that you can do is say, oh, well, you've got to go and watch this video. No, I'm terribly sorry, because I'll give you an example of this, okay? No, seriously, listen to me. I have been told time and time again that evidence of Noah's Ark has been found. And I've been told that all I need to do is go and watch YouTube videos about Noah's Ark being found. And I have done. I've gone and looked at them.
DPR, he didn't reference the YouTube video. He referenced the documentary, which interviews historians and archaeologists. These are professionals in the field now. So he didn't just say, go look at a YouTube video.
Are they professional in the fields?
Yes, they are.
I'd like to know some names.
Well, I mean, you can go look at the documentary. I don't agree with this either, but you can't say it's not evidence, and you can't say they're not professionals.
I can't say it's not evidence because I know what evidence is. Something
Have you
in
even
the
seen the documentary?
You know the evidence.
I'm more than happy to look at the documentary, but do not tell me that something.
So how can you say it's not evidence if you haven't even seen it?
Because I know what evidence is. It's what I work in, for goodness sake. It's what I've worked in for the last 25 years.
So there's a documentary which interviews historians and archaeologists, and you know it's not evidence without even seeing it.
I don't know until I've seen it.
I'm back.
But I can guarantee to, well, no, I won't say I can guarantee. I can guarantee that it probably is not evidence.
Okay.
Not that it is not evidence, but it probably is not evidence.
What are you talking about as not evidence, DPR?
Your mom.
Okay, so
What?
No, what are we saying is not evidence?
Yeah, Arcane thinks that this documentary that he saw can demonstrate that Exodus actually occurred.
Well,
And
I'm actually.
DPR is saying that it's not evidence. And
Well, I'm actually
the point
on
is-
the website now, the Pattern of Evidence website, and I'm looking. I clicked on the cast to see who are the people they interview, and I'm noticing some of the people they interview, and I'm looking at one now, Israel Finkelstein. is on the cast. That's very interesting because Israel Finkelstein, I highly recommend reading his book called The Bible Unearthed. He denies the Exodus occurred. So here, one of the experts, and I'd very much consider him an expert. Why? Because he was actually the chairman of archaeology for Tel Aviv University. I mean, he is definitely one of the top archaeologists in the field of the Middle East. You know, here he is. He was the chairman of archaeology of the Tel Aviv University. He's part of the cast of this pattern of evidence. Yet he has a whole book denying the Exodus occurred.
Okay, so what did he say in the documentary, Floyd?
The documentary.
I didn't say the documentary, but I read his book. In fact, if you want a copy of his book.
So that's irrelevant.
No, it's not relevant at all. This is one of the participants.
For all you know,
no, this is one of the participants in your documentary.
For all you know,
actually showing evidence this expert was quote mined.
But no, I'm looking at the members of the documentary. Israel Finkelstein denies. He wrote a whole book denying the Exodus.
Okay, Floyd.
Okay. Well, I'm looking. You pointed me to the pattern of evidence. Looking at the experts now.
Yeah, go watch the documentary.
Well, look at there's people on this documentary of yours who deny the Exodus occurred.
Well, not in the documentary, apparently.
Oh, okay. So, okay, you said the document. You watched it. Did Israel Finkelstein claim the Exodus was true? Yes or not? Since you saw it.
Honestly, Floyd, I only watched it once, and I watched it.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
I've read his book.
Floyd,
he denies the Exodus.
Calm down. It's okay, Floyd. Calm down.
According to this book I read,
I haven't seen. Hold on, Ocean. I haven't seen it thoroughly. I'll tell you that. But I did see.
You need to read it.
Hold on, Floyd.
You need to watch it again.
Finish, Floyd. I mean, what's up with your attitude, man? I'm trying to talk to you here, man. Just trying to dialogue. That's it, man.
Well, I'm terribly sorry that I think the problem with the
dialogue.
dialogue.
Hold on, Magic. Look, I saw it. But I don't remember a guy named Israel Finkelstein. I don't remember that name. I apologize.
He's on the website. So, on the website here.
But if you haven't seen the evidence, you can't. If you haven't even seen what's been presented, you cannot sit here and say it's not evidence.
Well, I'm looking at your experts. No, I recognize one of the experts.
Dishonesty.
No, I can say this because the point is this: just because something is in a documentary, just because something is in a book, just because something is written down or whatever, or it appears that someone has said something that may or may not have been taken out of context, who knows? The fact that you are so ready to believe that is true is evidence of the fact that you don't understand, as I say, what evidence is.
Really? Okay.
Yes, I mean that quite seriously. You have absolutely no understanding.
Explain why. Back up your case.
Because look, if there was a different YouTube video, which is apparently what you're telling me to look at, that said something quite the opposite to what the video that you're asking me to look at. How am I supposed to decide which is true? And I do not and would not necessarily assume, well, one is definitely true and the other one isn't, because on some sort of like presuppositional basis or because of some sort of bias. What I would want to do is to say, okay, there are two different claims being made. How do I determine which of these claims is correct? And I would look at the sources, and it can be a very time-consuming exercise to do. But I would have to look at the sources, what they're relying on, their expertise, who is saying what, and simply to say, oh well, look, there's a YouTube video that says this, therefore it must be true, is one of the most ridiculous positions that anyone can ever take.
Who said that? Did I say that? No.
Yes, pretty much
no.
You did.
No, I did not.
You did.
No, you probably should listen a little closely what I say. I did not say, go look at a YouTube video, therefore it's true. You asked me for some evidence and scholars and historians who disagree with your position, and I gave it. It's up to you now to go and be open-minded and look at the evidence objectively and make a decision on your own. I can't tell you. Hold on, can I finish? I just let you talk. Why are you cutting me off? Why are you cutting me off, bro? Like, I'm trying to respond to you. Chill out. Like, hold on a second. I cannot tell you what to believe to be true. I cannot make you believe like I believe. All I can do is say what I believe and hope that we could talk about it. Now, for you sitting here saying, well, I say just go watch this video, therefore it's true, is bullcrap. I never said that. I said, here's some evidence, go check it out.
Okay, well, Arcane, here's my point, and I hope you can agree with me. You said you have a documentary in which the experts disagree with what I claim, right? So what I did...
You say there's no evidence of Exodus, blah, blah,
well,
blah, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
You said, okay, well, I have a documentary in which experts disagree with me, right?
Right.
And you pasted a link to that documentary, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Googled it, gave it to you. Yep.
Yeah. So okay. So I clicked on the link, and I looked at your experts, and going down the list of experts, I recognized one of them.
Wait, so there are experts, right? Are you saying there's experts?
Yeah, yes, I recognize some of them. I don't know who they are all, but I recognized a couple of them. One of them is Israel Finkelstein, and right. I know of him. I read his book, and I know that among the experts that you listed here, Israel Finkelstein is clearly an expert. I recognize him as an expert, and I know that he does not believe the Exodus really happened. So your statement that you have a documentary in which the experts in the documentary disagree with me is false. Does that sound correct to you?
Oh, but you've never seen the documentary. He couldn't have changed his mind, Floyd? Is that possible?
Floyd, Finkelstein is in there as someone to present the traditional view.
But Finkelstein does not believe in fact, he even mentions his book. He authored the influential book,
but you haven't seen the
Bible on Earth, which is
right. So the documentary presents basically the current sort of generally accepted side, and then argues against it. So
right,
it has
but Arcane said the experts in this documentary disagree with me.
Floyd,
that's the major point of the documentary, yes, but both sides are presented. Like, here's a group of people, Finkelstein is one of them, who says the Exodus didn't happen.
Right,
and then
okay, so Arcane's statement is incorrect then.
Well, I wouldn't say that. The documentary has the purpose of providing evidence that the Exodus happened. So most...
But Arcane didn't say that. Arcane didn't say that.
Well, I mean, that's a light semantic point. I mean, his basic point was there is evidence for the Exodus, and what he did list is evidence for the Exodus.
But his statement that there's experts in the documentary, all experts in the documentary disagree with me is false.
At this point.
Okay, I'll tell you. Here's a challenge. Okay, right. Put into the chat again the documentary that you say supports your case, and I've not made a YouTube video for probably the best part of 3 years. You put in the side chat.
It's in the side chat.
Is that?
I put in the side chat.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, now,
I'll tell you what. For the first time in 3 years, I'll make a YouTube video responding to it.
Yeah. I mean, I've actually seen.
If I have to put an if here. If I consider there's any evidence contained in that video that supports what you're saying.
Mark DPR's words, he will still not make a YouTube video for 3 years.
I mean, I've seen...
I will. In fact...
I think you'll just deny whether there's any evidence in it and then move on.
Oh, well, that may well be the case. But I don't know.
Just because you deny it, that doesn't actually mean there's no evidence, right?
The one thing I'm not going to do is to avoid a challenge. Okay, open
I'd like to point out, I've seen documentaries like on the History Channel where the documentary has experts, top experts, I've seen this like on the Bible, for example. I'll have people like John Dominic Crossan and Bart Ehrman and so forth, and they'll interview them and they ask them, but they make it seem that the experts are agreeing with what the narrator is saying. The narrator will be saying stuff. They'll flip to the experts. They'll ask them questions about it. But the experts themselves never actually agree with what the narrator is saying. But you're given the impression that all the experts that they're interviewing agree with what the narrator is saying, and actually the case is no, that's not the case. But
if that is the case,
it's very deceptive.
And if that is the case, then yes, I will not make a response to it. Because I genuinely suspect that is exactly what is going to happen.
Yeah, the narrator's making these claims. They then go to experts who offer general comments, but never clearly agree with what the narrator is saying. But they're basically just chopping up the interviews and making it fit.
If you want an example of this, or how things can be terribly cut, look at the expelled. Sorry, what was the thing that?
Expelled.
No intelligence allowed. Right.
Well, you know,
and look at the interview. That I can't remember the name of the person, but the interview that he had with Dawkins, and just look how that's terribly cut. What was his name?
Ben Stein.
Ben Stein. Thank you. Yeah. And also look again, if you want to, at a video that was posted by Potholer54. And he's obviously well knowledgeable in these things because he is or was a person that did televised interviews with people. And he'll show you, I can't remember the particular video, but he will show you how these things can be cut and pasted effectively to show that people can say or appear to say all sorts of different things that they never actually meant. So I maintain my challenge. If you think that this documentary shows that there is evidence of the Exodus, then yes, I'll respond to it. I suspect I won't find any evidence at all because I don't believe there is any evidence. But if there is, and if there's something there that that is worthy of response, I'll make my first YouTube video in 3 years to respond to the claims.
Yeah,
but, I just need to make sure that I'm sorry. What has been sent to me, the link that has been sent to me, is not a YouTube video. Okay, so post. It's something quite different. It was a clip to subscribe to a DVD or buy a DVD or whatever. So whoever was making the first claim that there's something on YouTube that I need to respond to.
Yeah, no, it is a documentary.
I'm certainly not going to pay for it.
Yeah, apparently I have to pay for it. Maybe it'll show up on some TV show, some TV channel at some point. I would imagine.
There is a documentary on Exodus that is on Netflix. Let me check and see if it's the same one.
That's the one he's talking about, yeah. Yeah, but Floyd, certainly you agree that, I mean, like me and you could look at a body of facts. You could look at that body of facts and reach one conclusion. I could look at that body of facts and reach another conclusion. But so both of us see it as evidence for different conclusions. So simply because
it is the same one on
yeah, but as far as the Exodus, I don't think we have all the facts laid out on the table. For example,
right, but what I'm saying is, like, simply because you wouldn't see it as evidence for a conclusion, but I do see it as evidence for a conclusion, you wouldn't just say there is no evidence simply because you don't see it as evidence.
Yes, but it is, there are qualities of evidence.
Yeah, it's just shitty evidence.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, it would be fair to say there's no evidence, but the evidence, the so-called evidence or reasons presented, just don't hold up.
Well, the point of the documentary, is that
it's kind of annoying
they're looking
to
at the documentary in a different way. What they're saying is the timeline was different, that people are looking for evidence at a certain time period in the past, when in fact the biblical Exodus was actually much earlier.
Well, yeah, see, that's the problem. They're trying to make it fit. They say, okay, now we need to adjust the timetable. Now we have to look at other people like the Hyksos. They try to come up with explanations.
Listen at your just blind dismissal of everything that I said.
Well, no, I've heard those. Hold
on, Floyd. You won't even for a second consider the possibility that
I've looked at them.
Misinterpreted somewhere, and people started saying, well, we have to look at this time period because this fits our sort of preconceived notions of what we think happened back then.
Well, no, the Bible actually gives the time period.
But in fact, hold on. But in fact, this is what happens in science, Floyd. New discoveries are made, and people alter their way of thinking about things, and they look at things in a different light, and perhaps, just maybe, it could be the correct way of thinking, as opposed to the older way of thinking that people questioned for a very long time.
Yeah, but the problem is
they're making no advances, but you won't even consider it. Right out the gate. You're like, heck no.
I have considered.
I'm totally sorry.
No, Arcane, you're not allowed to do that. Arcane, you're not allowed to do that.
Can I respond to what Arcane just
because
said?
The Bible to you is static.
No, before you do, can I just sort of like seek to sort of like keep things calm here? So, Arcane, you've made a claim. You've said that there is a documentary that is somewhere. I haven't found a link for it yet, but I'm sure you'll send me one.
It's on Netflix. We put it in the side chat.
Okay, well, that's not what I've found, but anyway, someone somehow will be able to provide me with a link. Okay.
Yeah, but my point, Arcane, is
yes, but let's keep everything calm.
As far as access to a DPR, it is on Netflix, and there's a link to it in the side chat.
I've told you that if I get this link and I can see it, I'll respond to it.
You'll make a video that lasts 3 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Arcane.
Now, let's not deviate from the fact that Floyd has a very, very good point, which is...
No, he doesn't.
I can hold your feet to the fire, Arcane. You're saying, okay, with science, with new discoveries, we modify our beliefs or our views, right? Well, if you can't do that with the Exodus and be a Bible believer, because the Bible makes specific claims of when the Exodus happened. You have the experts saying, okay, well, it doesn't fit this timeline. Maybe it happened later. Maybe it happened at this time or happened at this time. Maybe it wasn't the Israelites. Maybe it was talking about the Hyksos and stuff like that. Those are explanations they come up with. But the problem is the Bible, which is static, which you think is literally true, does not say that. You have to stick with what the Bible says. If it does not match the Bible...
This is just you saying that, though, Floyd.
No.
I have a specific response.
Arcane, 1 Kings 6:1.
And repeating themselves.
First Kings 6:1 says the Exodus occurred 480 years before Solomon started working on the temple. Well, guess what? We have that date of when Solomon started working on the temple. Okay, so if we look at Judges 11:26, okay, we can pick that. So historians say Solomon came around anywhere between 970 and 950. So that would put the Exodus at 1450 to 1430. So that is the timetable. The Exodus has to happen according to the Bible for it to be true. Now, if archaeologists find that there's nothing going on during that period.
Floyd. I mean, you can believe that, Floyd. Okay.
No, this is what the Bible says, Arcane. Well, you're denying what the Bible. So if the experts say, "Oh, well, maybe it happened at different dates," no, the Bible says.
Floyd, I'll bring it up.
It's 1 Kings 6:1. Chapter 6, verse 1.
Okay, so give me a timeline, Floyd. When does the Bible say the flood happened?
Oh, well, you want to go by Bishop Ussher's
Or not the flood,
dates?
not the flood, but Exodus. When does the Bible say that Exodus happened?
It would be between 1450 to 1430 BC.
According to what?
According to the Bible passages I just offered. And here, yeah, we have it right here. 1 Kings 6. Yeah, Ludic.
Where's it at?
First Kings 6:1. You can read it right here. So it's telling us, it's giving us a specific time of when the Exodus happened.
And I can compare it across versions too.
Right. So when archaeologists say, oh well, maybe it happened at a different time, maybe it happened at this time or this time or this time. Well, no, the Bible gives specific times. So if the archaeologists in your documentary start proposing different time periods, different timetables, and so forth, I'm sorry, but that flies against your principles, Arcane, not mine, against your principles.
Well, I don't see how it does, man. I don't see any issue.
Then you're blind, because the Bible's giving specific dates
you
here.
say I'm blind, Floyd? Like, get out of here. Like, your bias is
the Bible
through the
either
roof.
mentions years and it's right or it's wrong.
Your bias is through the roof, Floyd.
No, you're ignoring what the Bible says, Arcane.
It's black and white, Arcane. He's pulling up the Bible. He's showing the number of years.
This is what the Bible says, yet you're
the
rejecting
Bible is
it.
wrong.
Okay,
you
all it says
date,
is,
for
the record, all it's saying is
CEV version
in the
is not
480th
mentioning the
year
dates
after the
but all the
children of
others do.
Israel came out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year that Solomon was the king of Israel, in the month, which is the 2nd month, the building in the Lord's house was started. What in that? Where are you getting from that? Therefore, that this is the time period that
ties to the Exodus from Egypt. It uses the Exodus of Egypt as a starting point, and says in 480 years, Solomon is the king. We know when Solomon was king.
When was that?
I'll look it up for you real quick.
Around 950 to 930. So Arcane.
But the bottom line
Arcane,
is,
you can't just say,
hold on, Floyd.
New.
Hold on, Floyd. You're just repeating yourself at this point. All you're saying is you have a view of history that you can't reconcile that this happened. The bottom line is this either happened or it did not happen. And you're saying that there's no evidence for it. And you're trying to pull up this Bible passage which says it's supposed to happen then. What if your conception, hold on, what if your conception of what you think the time was that Solomon reigned, in your mind,
the reign is 970 to 930 BC.
Well, we can trace the dates. Now you're denying the dates that the Bible offers, the timelines and so forth.
A lot of this stuff is
might have some Solomon glasses trying to look at these dates.
So you see, now you're rejecting the Bible. Now you're skeptical of the Bible, Arcane, and you don't even know it.
Well, you're just putting words in my mouth and trying to act like you're...
Arcane, if you're denying the date that Solomon reigned, then you are saying the Bible is wrong.
Yeah.
Because those dates are defined according to the time periods placed in the Bible. Because that is the records of that civilization.
But you don't want to hear anything I say. You just want to act like you're...
Well, no, you're not responding to what the Bible actually says.
You're not even giving me a chance to respond at all. So it's like
because any response that you're saying that is contrary to the Bible then proves you wrong.
No, it doesn't. Because
yes, it does. If you're going to say something,
first of all, here you are in 2015.
Arcane, do you accept
you're a dude on
6:1
YouTube in 2015 and think you can understand what happened thousands of years ago.
Do you accept 1 Kings 6:1 as perfect, accurate, and literal? Yes or no?
Can you justify those words that you're using? Perfect.
Answer the question.
in literal.
I'm sorry,
yes,
Arcane.
all of it is. All of it
you can
is
just
literally
say accurate.
true.
I've listened for me.
Exodus
with
happened,
extraordinary.
a flood happened, and a creation happened.
A couple of things need to be established.
And
Arcane,
I'm terribly sorry.
Guys,
I'm terribly
everybody,
sorry.
we need to establish a couple of things before we continue this conversation. Arcane, are you a
Yeah, it's like
biblical
3
literalist?
on 1, and you don't want to give equal time to your
Sir,
opponent. That's pretty disingenuous.
Are you a biblical
cowardice,
literalist?
might I add.
And do you believe the Bible is infallible? I think those are two very important questions before we continue.
Yes, and you can't make sense of those words if it wasn't.
Okay, so that sounds to me as if Arcane, you are sort of like some sort of presuppositionalist, but
Yeah, he is, but why don't we go over here?
I'm terribly sorry that you are.
Are you an atheist?
Are avoiding.
No.
You are avoiding a very, very, very straightforward question that's being posed to you.
How am I avoiding anything? You're not proposing anything.
As an independent, please shut up. As an independent outside observer, I'm trying to judge whether your account can be or is accurate.
Based on what?
I'm listening carefully, and you're not answering the question. So what I'm going to invite, if you don't mind.
I have answered your question.
Well, no, I don't think you have, and this is why I'm going to invite Floyd to ask you once more the question, and I want you to listen very carefully to that question, and then I want you to answer it.
I want you to listen very closely to yourself.
I will sit back as an independent observer, and if you're not prepared to do this, then I'm just going to dismiss any claim you have.
Well, you already have, haven't you, Magic Sandwich?
No, I have not. I have not. I'm interested.
Come on, son. People can rewind the tape, DPR, and see you're just a biased
they can as much as they like.
That's all you have.
That's not a problem. Are you prepared to be asked the question by Floyd one more time?
Are you going to answer my question?
You actually address the question that he's asking. Yes or no?
He can address my questions, because since you guys have been grilling me for the past hour, like 4 on 1, why don't you guys start answering some questions?
I don't think it's anything like an hour, but if that's the way you want to avoid the...
Would that be fair?
Do you understand? Do you understand at the moment what people will perceive is that you are avoiding answering any direct question? Okay.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I'm sure they'll see that.
So I'm giving you the opportunity to answer a question, straightforward question, not mine.
What's the question?
I don't mind how you answer. I'm going to ask Floyd to ask you the question again. Okay.
Ask the question.
Will you answer it this time?
So you want me to answer 2 questions? Okay. Floyd, what's your question?
All right, yeah, I kind of have 2 questions. One is, do you accept that 1 Kings 6:1 is literally true?
Well, it's all true.
Okay. Do you accept that King Solomon reigned from 970 to 930 BCE?
I'm not...
Those dates are constructed according to the Bible, by the way, Arcane.
Please don't interrupt.
Yeah, you guys, your mind's already made up, so it's like pointless. Whatever I say,
I'm just asking you questions.
Doesn't matter.
I'm just asking you questions.
Doesn't matter. The whole thing's true, Floyd. Exodus happened. Okay, whether the timeline that we perceive it to be is accurate or not, who knows? But the point is, it happened at some point.
No, we're talking about what the Bible says.
Hold on, Floyd. Since you're speaking in a position of ignorance now, since I've presented evidence that you have yet to look at.
You presented no evidence.
So,
sorry.
Okay.
Arcane, let me describe the issue completely.
You presented a documentary, which I know some of the experts in it disagree with.
How about I just talk until you guys get sick of hearing me talk, since I'm being talked over?
Arcane, I'm not sure that you understand what's going on.
Should we share time? Should we share time, since like 8 of us, since it'll make the conversation go quicker?
I'm trying to get the conversation to go quicker by making sure that you understand what the accusation is.
By cutting me off and trying to educate me on what you think I should be doing? Hell no. Wait your turn, okay? That's rude, all right?
I'll be as rude as I wish.
Yeah, exactly. So I can be rude back, and this can be a fuck fest.
No, yeah, we can just yell at each other, and I can just not listen to you. But I'm trying to make sure that you're aware of what the accusation is, because it's about whether or not the Bible is accurate, and whether or not you agree with that.
Yeah. And I say, yes,
if
it
you're
is
questioning
accurate.
the time
It
period,
is
the Bible
accurate.
is very specific about the time period, and I'm
It
trying
is
to
accurate.
explain to you where it is.
It is accurate. So what?
Okay. Then you have to believe that the Exodus happened at a certain year, because the Bible is very specific about where the years are. And according to those years, that Solomon reigned from 970 to 931 BC. And it says that Solomon's reign takes place 480 years after the Exodus from Egypt, which means then that we can just do simple math and figure out exactly by the year when the Exodus was according to the biblical text.
And
so the time period is either there or the Bible is wrong.
Right. So. Right.
Yes. So Arcane.
You think the Bible would be wrong if that were the case? Okay. So I challenge you to go watch the documentary which lays out the timeline.
Okay.
How about that?
If the documentary,
are you open-minded enough to look at some new evidence, Floyd, or are you just going to keep denying?
No. I'm pointing out what the documentary, because I know some of the claims that people make to try to rationalize the Exodus. So if in a documentary, if
you're psychic,
no. If in a documentary, experts in the documentary come up with different timetables from the Exodus, you, Arcane, you have to reject that. Correct? Yes or no?
I have to reject what? What it's literally stating? No.
No. If experts say, oh, well, the Exodus could have happened at another time, you have to reject that evidence. Correct? Yes or no?
Not necessarily, Floyd.
If it disagrees with the Bible, do you have to reject it? Yes or no?
Well, nothing would disagree with the Bible, Floyd.
If these experts are disagreeing with the timetable of the Bible, do you have to reject it? Yes or no?
Well, of course, Floyd.
Yes, okay.
Right.
So if experts in this documentary come up with a different timetable that disagrees with the Bible, you will not agree with these experts, correct, right?
On their so-called timeline, that's correct, Floyd.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So
are you going to go watch it now?
Now we can pick apart this documentary and see how many experts actually agree with what you agree with.
Well, I expect you to have a full-fledged response to the documentary, Floyd.
Okay, well, I'm aware of at least one of the experts, and I can tell you right now that expert in the documentary disagrees with you. He disagrees that the Exodus ever occurred.
Well, I think you might get refuted. But I haven't seen that expert. But what I did see was pretty compelling, so I urge you to watch it.
Okay, but I can tell you right now, one of the experts in the documentary does not believe the Exodus occurred. It's Israel Finkelstein, and you can read his book.
You would think.
The Bible.
The documentary actually provides both sides, not just one.
Okay. But don't go selling this documentary that all the experts agree with the Bible.
No one said that, Floyd. You're putting words.
That's how you were selling it initially. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't. I said here's a documentary which has evidence of Exodus, plain and simple. Experts with evidence.
He just noted there were experts in it.
I did not say all the experts in the world. Or all the experts in this documentary say that. I said no.
But you said you need to review the documentary again, and if you watch the documentary again, and some of the experts say, oh well, perhaps it happened at a different timetable than what the Bible says, you have to reject that. And then after you watch the documentary,
is it true that I have to reject that?
This is your claim. I got you to agree with it. I had to pull teeth out of your mouth to get you to concede, but you finally did.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I invite you to watch it again, and then at the end of it, you'll find out how many of the experts actually agree with what the Bible's literally saying.
Okay, you said that like 1,000 times. Like, can we move on to a point? Like, what's your point now? Where do we go from there?
Can someone send me a link to the video again? I'm terribly sorry. Have I missed it?
The video, are you talking about the documentary?
Yeah.
Okay, the documentary, there's a link that's really far up to the website that is selling it, but if you look on Netflix, it's available for free.
Like, why
as long as you have a Netflix subscription.
If you Google it, you can find it online without having to pay for it. Not
That's
strictly.
true.
Can someone just send me a link to where I can see it for free without having to sign up?
Do you have Netflix, DPR?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. If you have access to Netflix through your account or someone else's, you can look for patterns of evidence Exodus, and that is you can just add it to your list and watch it whenever you please.
Patterns or Exodus.
Patterns of evidence.
Of
Exodus.
Evidence of Exodus. Yeah. Okay. I'll look it up on Netflix. I can't guarantee. I can't guarantee I'll find it, but I'll certainly look for it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Thank you.
And Floyd has posted a link to the official site in the side chat.
That's the one I think I opened up before, and it looked like I had to pay for it or something. I can't remember. Let me just have a quick look.
Yeah, that's the film's official site.
That's like a buy now.
And you can buy it.
Trailer and whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
I can assure you of one thing. There's no way in the world I'll pay any money to.
My guess is you can probably watch it free on Netflix. That's probably my guess.
Netflix, and there's probably other places to find it as well. I will
try and do that.
And my guess is it probably was broadcasted on some channels probably a while ago, and might pop up every now and then.
I want to go back to Arcane, if I may, and this again. Something I'm really curious about. Right, the Bible is inerrant, in your view, yeah?
Well, it just is. Period.
Right. So if it was provably wrong in any regard whatsoever, would that make you question its inerrancy?
It can't be proven wrong, DPR. It's inerrant.
Why do you say that it can't be proven wrong?
It can't be. It's infallible. It's inerrant.
Okay, so
That's what you need to prove.
No
evidence. DPR, chill out. Can I respond, please? Yeah, when you say proven wrong, I'm going to ask you, what are you going to use to prove it wrong? What's your standard by which you're going to gauge right from wrong, true and false?
I've got no problem in answering that. Every single claim that the Bible makes is incorrect. Every single scientific claim it makes is incorrect.
I don't think you heard the question. I said when you gauge or judge whether something's right or wrong, true or false, what is your method or your standard by which to gauge that?
Yeah, he's retreating to presuppositionalism and epistemology.
Yes, of course he is. I'm acutely aware of that, Floyd, and thank you.
And why is that, Floyd? Why is that?
Because you know evidence can't back up your worldview.
Well, the very concept of evidence
you're retreating to epistemology.
Let me tell you why then, Floyd, since you're incorrect about that. The reason why I have done that is because you are questioning the very cornerstone of my epistemology. You're questioning the validity.
The problem with that, Arcane, is...
How old are you, dude? Like, are you able to talk, let other people talk? Do you have this compulsion where you just have to cut people off that you don't agree with? I let you speak without cutting you off. I let Floyd speak. I let everyone else speak. But when I'm talking,
when you're talking bullshit,
I'm very rude to just cut me off.
A necessity, yes.
The topic is whether your cornerstone of epistemology is true or not.
Well, excuse me,
you can't
bro.
start there.
I'm going to finish what I'm going to say without your commentary. I don't need your help. Okay, I'm going to get my point across uninterrupted because that's fair. The reason why I did that is because you're questioning the very foundation that I have for true and false. When you say it's false, it's wrong, I'm going to ask you, okay, since you're questioning my very foundation, what's your foundation for true or false?
That's a question you asked me.
Hold on, because you know that is my starting point. Now I'm going to ask you, hold
You asked me
that is my
question.
foundation for truth, DPR. What is yours? Since you're questioning mine, it's only fair that I get to question yours.
Absolutely, and that's what I was trying to answer.
We can start.
And you asked me a question.
We can start your foundation, and through reductio absurdum, we can determine it's false. I told you already.
What is it?
On your standard, I told you already.
No, you can't use my standard.
Oh, absolutely. If I can find it, if I can do a reductio,
what standard are you using to judge my standard?
No, I'm using your standard. I'm using your standard.
Okay, then God exists in the Bible.
All I need to do is find internal inconsistencies.
You
have to use God to try to weasel out from believing.
Shut the fuck up, Arcane. Who is interrupting who at the moment?
All I need to do is do a reductio in your worldview. If I do a reductio in your view, you are refuted and you need to reject your worldview. That's all I need to do.
I see I've been muted. No,
yeah, that's the last time you're going to tell me to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, okay. Whatever. Look, you asked a question.
Guys, let's not do a mute war, please.
Oh, I see I've been muted again. Now, look, I'm trying to have a civil conversation, okay?
No, you're not. You just cussed me out. How the hell are you trying to have a civil conversation? You're lying to yourself.
Okay. Let me extend an apology to you. I'm sorry if I interrupted you. Let us see if we can now carry on with a civil discourse. How's that?
Yeah, what's your standard?
Do you accept it?
What's your standard of right and wrong?
Right. Now, look, there were a couple of questions that were being asked, and you complained that I interrupted you. I would say that you interrupted Floyd when he was answering your question. So, can I allow you to extend Floyd the courtesy to respond to your question without interruption? Would that be fair?
I'd appreciate that, DPR, Magic Sandwich.
Thank you very much. In that case, let Floyd give his answer without interruption, and I will, as best I can, not interrupt you in a discourteous way. Okay?
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Floyd, did you want to respond?
Yeah, so if we start with your worldview, if we start with the foundations of your review, and take them to their conclusion, and we can form a reductio ad absurdum, then logically we can reject your worldview.
You might want to spell out what you're doing, Floyd. That might not be clear to everybody when you say that.
Well, a reductio ad absurdum is where you start with the premises, and if from them, through logical deduction, you can come up with one conclusion and the opposite conclusion. Basically, you can arrive at contradiction. Then you establish the syllogism leads to absurdity, and you can reject it.
So where's the contradiction, and what are you using? What standard are you using?
I told you that.
Hey, hold on, Floyd.
I told you that already.
No, because that is ignorant. That's begging the question, bro.
No.
You can't sit here and say, I'm going to use your standard of truth to establish that I can come to a standard of truth apart from yours.
I'm not saying that. I'm starting with your standard of truth.
You're doing. You're saying,
no,
I'm going to use your standard of truth.
Arcane, you don't even understand presuppositionalism.
That's dumb.
Pathetic. It's pathetic.
That's dumb, Floyd.
Arcane.
I haven't heard with Floyd's standard of truth yet. He said it's mine. Well, if it's mine, then my worldview is true, Floyd. Thank you.
Well, no. We're starting at your
yeah, that's what that means. You said you're going to use my standard of truth. My standard of truth is that God exists.
We start there. We start there.
Right. So if God exists,
that doesn't mean every belief within your belief set's true.
Both of you, please, just allow each other to talk. Without interruption, okay? One at a time, because I happen to think that this is a really interesting topic, and it would be a much more constructive if you just allowed each other to speak without interruption, okay? So Arcane, if you want to go first, that's fine, but please, when you have made your statement, allow Floyd to give his rebuttal without interruption. Is that fair?
Yeah. So again, Floyd, you cannot use my standard of truth because my standard of truth means that God exists. Right? So if God exists, you're trying to use God to argue against God, and it's just not going to work for you because you claim to be an atheist, and that's not being consistent with atheism. Atheism is that there are no gods, or you don't believe in gods. So you can't say God exists, therefore God doesn't exist.
No, we're not talking about the general statement of whether or not God exists. We're talking about the claims the Bible's made.
Okay, so what is your standard of truth then?
I'm starting with your standard. It's called an internal critique. Ever study presuppositionalism?
Wow.
It's called an internal critique. Ever hear that, Arcane?
Yeah, why don't you do one with your own worldview, Floyd?
Oh my God! Did you hear what you just said? You have no idea what internal critique is. That is laughable.
Wow.
That is pathetic.
This is what
Nadia's trying to say something.
Oh man,
calm down for a second.
You have no idea what internal critique is. That was pathetic. Oh, we got
Hangout is
Floyd, calm down, please.
Man,